is Hump Day, everybody's favorite day for dirty play. Okay, let's talk about this base now. Okay, so you see some buildings down here, and this isn't normal normally. Okay, let's talk about normal for a second. Normally, I squeeze in, I put both the army camps up here with all of the buildings down below. Okay, that's what's normal. However, that's not what you see right now. What I had been doing is, let's just put this up here for a second. Okay, let's put this up here. Let's put this up here. Let's just assume all the buildings are up here. Alright, we're just going to assume that that's the case. Warehouse, vault. Alright, there we go. So it's up there. Normally, it's just no garrison even. Let's just take out garrison. You got no garrison win here. No garrison H in your sleep. No big deal. That's like super easy. Never lose that. And that's what I've been doing forever. No garrison H. Yeah, alright, you can see the wave H1 coming in here. This is where you do want wave H1, by the way. You want them to do wave H1 to take out all these buildings up there, that fluffy stuff. You just want to put all your buildings next to each other. For HBM Monster H or earlier, doesn't matter, A through H, you basically want, on every HBM Monster, you want, it's ideal for the waves to take out all those buildings and just get them out of the way, and then every wave from that point forward will have absolutely zero momentum coming to their base because there's nothing for it to attack and build up energy bar in the heroes. So that's really how this base works. This is the Dirty Bastard base. Again, it's what I call a momentum base, and it essentially means that at some point all of the waves will have very little momentum. Here they're coming in on H3. They took out even just a few buildings and they got full energy bars. So the heroes did have a little bit of momentum, but mine had a little bit more. So here they come in on H4, absolutely no momentum on those heroes. Mine have all the momentum. I have all the advantage here on H5. There's absolutely no possible way I can lose. And this base works great. Does it work great? Yeah, I farmed on this base for months. Months and months and months and not a single loss. But the question that remains is, how does it work on HBM Monster I? Alright, so that was HBM Monster H. Obviously that was very easy, and one thing's kind of funny that I noticed. If you zoom in on my heroes, I actually have my boss heroes that are on these bases right now. I don't even have my HBM Monster heroes on my bases. So I have Druid and Cupid, and normally what you want on this base is Cupid on the top base, but you want an area of effector next to them. So you're going to want Spirit Mage, well in my opinion Spirit Mage or Grizzly Reaper next to Cupid, and I normally go with Spirit Mage. And then in the bottom bases, you normally do not have Snowzilla and Champion. You have your Druid down there for heals. And you also have the other area of effect, Grizzly Reaper. And you got the Minotaur in the middle base, and I don't normally use Pumpkin Duke. So I swap out Pumpkin Duke for Moltanica. And Pumpkin Duke comes into a tower to get experience, since it's only level 152. I'm going to pop in the towers all of my heroes that are leveling. That's the only reason. I do not use Thunder God for HBM Monsters. I just don't like that he's a little bit squishy. And Champion. So those are the only ones. One hero per each of these altars. And it's the purple Garrison. And so what I had noticed though is that if you bring your army camps down along with two buildings, that you no longer need to farm H on my account. Why farm H when you can farm I? And what I also discovered is that why farm I when you can farm J on this account? And so what I began doing is I tried to find a base that worked really, really well for HBM Monster I and J, not realizing exactly that I currently have a base that is really good for HBM Monster I and J. So that was really the realization that changed what I do every single day. Now before you run a HBM Monster I though, what you do need to do is you need to hire 46 Guardians per army camp. Why 46? That is simply because 47 costs 3 gems and 46 costs 2. So we're going to go ahead and hire up those Guardians on every single army camp. This is one reason too, if you're a little bit lazy, you don't want to hire them, well then yeah, just go ahead and run HBM Monster H, should be good to go. If you got some time and you got 8 gems, because you're going to rush this because you're impatient like I am, for example, we're going to go ahead and spend 2 gems per army camp and hire up those 46 Guardians. We're using Guardians because we need them as soak for the Spirit Mage that occurs in the HBM Monster I waves. Okay, so that's why. That's the only reason that I have Guardians. There's no other reason. So now that we got everything set up and we got the heroes on the right bases and not my boss heroes, we can run a HBM Monster I. And I have been doing this for only a few days now, and I 100% undefeated on I. And just recently, towards the end of the day yesterday, I started testing this on J and had just one J. I only had one HBM Monster, so one J and won it. Here's the problem with J. Like the last 6 times I've beat J, I've gotten like 400,000 mana. You can see these Spirit Mage magic missiles are coming in. Many of them are headed towards the Guardians that are in these camps, and that's of course the reason why there are Guardians in the camp in the first place. See those 4 magic missiles there just hit those guys while the Spirit Mage is wailing away here. So I got 6 heroes here, all up and living, all alive. That's the goal here on Wave 1. If Wave 1 comes up to these buildings up here, the goal, and this is somewhat luck-based, the goal is for the wave to clear all of these buildings, come in, and then you don't want to lose any heroes. I don't really care so much if I lose any buildings, but losing heroes is what. This is why you want Cupid and Spirit Mage and Area of Effector up top there, is if a wave like this happens where they come kind of directly towards the center of the town hall, you want those two, you want Cupid to be proccing, building the energy of Spirit Mage, and you want to keep that Spirit Mage proccing to clear that wave out. Thunder God would probably be a little bit more effective in that exact scenario. Problem with Thunder God is that he's a ground walker, which means he sometimes does strange things. I guess we'll just say with his pathing. So he'd probably be okay, but I haven't, since my tests have been so successful with these 6 heroes, I've simply been going with these 6 heroes. I mean, why change what works? Even though it might be a little better, it might be just a tiny bit, it could also be worse. So again, there's just something super beneficial on having 4 floating heroes here. The only ground walkers, of course, being Minotaur and Druid. And see here, see how Minotaur's kind of out there in the open, exposed? Yeah, I don't like that. That kind of makes me feel a little uneasy. Yeah, so that's where the dangerous things can happen. So it looks like I still have 6 of 6 heroes up, and I'm on Wave I5. And this Wave I5 is going to kind of show you what it means to be a momentum base here. And wow, that was strange how that Spirit Mage is so far ahead of... You almost never have that Spirit Mage ahead of Ninja. There was some sort of strange glitch there. But that worked out okay there. And look at this, see Minotaur's just standing out there in the open, and the Dragon's just owning him. Wow, that was a glitchy... I kind of just had like a internet glitch or something there, where the froze and got everything out of order. But we still won the Wave I5 there. So 272,000 experience and 50 shards.